So let's tell you now about the Meshack Tabudi Foundation. And it's led by Seipati Tabudi, and it stands as a beacon of hope in communities like Jameson Park and Daveyton in Gauteng. This impactful organization is dedicated to empowering youth through vital skills, training, mentorship, and entrepreneurial development, actively combating unemployment and bridging the skills gap. With initiatives such as their Robotics and Coding Project, the Meshack Tabudi Foundation consistently demonstrates its commitment to building a stronger, more skilled and prosperous future for the next generation, truly embodying the spirit of community builders. I don't want to tell you the whole story. Let's bring in someone who knows it better than me, Seipati Tabudi, who is the center manager at the Meshack Tabudi Foundation. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Before we even go any further, I suppose I'm curious about the name, Meshack Tabudi Foundation. I imagine there's a reason it's named like that, and the values that you want to uphold align with the person after whom you named it. So just tell us about Meshack Tabudi, who inspired the foundation.
Thank you so much, Tilasizo. Thank you for having me. I'm glad you asked that because the name Meshack Tabudi is my late father, who is also the founder of the organization. This was a man who had a spirit of excellence, who was a lover of education. He was a lover of a Black child and their development. So he dedicated his life in making sure, from the little that he had, in making sure that he changes lives. He makes a difference in our communities. The organization was originally called Shabak School Ministry. And when he passed, we changed the name to the Meshack Tabudi Foundation in his honor.
So tell me about the work you do then. I tried to follow and tried to read up on it. And I must say, I found that you are multifaceted. I found that if you were a company, you would be one of those diversified companies. Is there anything you don't do as far as youth development is concerned? We cite the example of robotics and coding, but actually I saw that you are busy in other spaces as well. Talk us through your main focus as well as other areas that are incidental to you fulfilling your core mandate.
Awesome. So as you would know, we're a nonprofit organization that has a PBO status. We were registered in 2011. And we've been going strong since then. So the programs that we do start at school level. We've got academic intervention programs. For example, we offer grade 6 to 12 homework assist programs. We offer life skills. We offer maths and science classes for grade 11 and 12, targeting the schools that are not performing well. And the reason for this especially was because we noticed that more and more township schools are dropping pure maths as a subject that they offer. So that was very concerning to us. Hence, we then started knocking on doors to source funding to be able to implement this project. We've had, the likes of VOPAC, we've had the likes of ARMSCO that has come on board to assist us with that. And we got great feedback from the schools that participated in the program. We also have, like you mentioned, the robotics and coding from foundation phase, which is funded by VOPAC. And the reason behind all of this is that, the world is transitioning to fourth industrial revolution. And it is very important that we get our young people ready to take advantage of the opportunities that will come as a result. So we also have what we call the family help desk. Now, this is a desk where, communities could come to get help from issues of substance abuse, how to get their children into rehabilitation centers. We also try and, donate sanitary towels, whatever stuff that these kids would need to be able to go into rehab and come out. And when they do come out, we have our skills programs where we put them to gain skill that they can be able to live out of. We also have our psychosocial programs. Now, these are at school levels where we all know that there's social ills in our institutions of learning. I could mention a few like bullying, gangsterism and violence, issues of drugs, you name it, which are disturbing, teaching and learning. So we have a 5-day program that we would implement in a school that has problems. Part of the program is that it includes conflict resolution, anger management, etc. And the last one I think I mentioned is the socio-economic intervention. Now, in the communities, believe it or not, we still have families that go to bed without anything to eat. So we then donate, food parcels, dignity packs to disadvantaged families. I hope I've summarized it well.
Yes, you have. Seipati, this is a lot of work to be doing consistently 365 days a year. I mean, I suppose if you had to do it, for a lot of us, if we had to do it on, the day 18 July, 67 minutes for Mandela, but you do it consistently. What's the model that you follow? Are you merely a conveyor belt of aid and assistance in that you request on the one side and you hand over on the other side, or have you institutionalized such that this becomes sustainable and it's underpinned by a functional set of institutions, as well as pooling of resources and expertise? Some of what you're talking about, I imagine, requires professionals to be available at hand to assist with some of those problems. How have you navigated that?
Sustainability in this sector is very important because, you see, you could secure a funder today, but they will not be there forever. So one has to go into this sector with the mindset of running a normal business, where as much as you make a profit, the profits are then injected into the organization again to make sure that it is sustainable even after the funding is no longer there. So you will remember I mentioned that we have skills development and training. Now, we do have professionals that we hire and have to be paid to be able to roll out such. So my core business in all of this is to go out there and source funding and make sure that we have fundraising initiatives that ensure that there's always resources that we need to be able to function daily.
Lastly, talk to me about what keeps you going. The areas in which you are intervening, there's a lot in those spaces that can discourage a person and that can leave you heartbroken. The circumstances in which you are exposed, to which you are exposed in the communities, the difficulties that people are grappling with on a day-to-day basis. What are some of the stories? What has kept you going on this path? Even when sometimes I imagine that there aren't enough pledges that are coming through to support you.
Wow. What keeps us going is being able to change one life at a time. We've had to, come to terms with the fact that we cannot help everybody, but the little that we are able to help with allows the next person to be able to help the next person. So I think this then gave birth to what I call NPO workshops that I have on an annual basis, where I teach people who have a passion for community development on how to run successful nonprofit organizations. So this is where I share how to start with what you have, how to make sure that your organization is sustainable, how to build relations with funders, how to make them come back. Very important, because if you don't deliver, if you don't, keep your funders happy, then chances of them wanting to continue the relationship is quite slim. But more than that, we've got our beneficiaries, which is I call them my clients. These are the people at the end of the day that will go out there and say a good thing about the organization. So they are very important to us, and I think that is how we've been doing it all these years.
Well, thank you for joining us and sharing your story with us, Seipati Tabudi, who is from the Meshack Tabudi Foundation, talking to us about the work that they do in communities out in, it's Jamestown. Is it Jamestown? Where's that name now? In areas around Daveyton. Yes, it is Jameson Park and Daveyton.